Alright, so we wanted to show you guys a base that actually works for 7 days. This whole thing was built by hand. There's no tricks, there's no god mode, there's no nothing. You see up top here, it's nothing but a flat slab, some ramps. I'll take you over to the entrance here. Probably clip this out and speed it up a little bit. You want to put the door far enough away not to get mugged by the Zeds during the actual Horde night. We've never posted a build before, but I know all three of us here got pretty sick of watching the YouTube vids with certain somebodies always talking about how they've got the best base, best this, best that, fastest, easiest, and then you watch it 3 minutes in, they're all liquefied by the first demo guy that comes along. So what we've got here is a giant hole with a bunch of electrical fencing. That drops straight to bedrock. Everything down there is just for fun. This can be as big or as little as you want it to be. It doesn't matter. This whole structure you're seeing here is actually suspended from the ceiling. All of the pillars down there are just redundancy and boredom. Not a single one of them is required for this thing to hang. This whole structure is higher than the explosion radius of any single demolition guy. And what you're going to see is going to happen is they're going to fall through here at about Mach 5, get electrified, and then spend the first 5 seconds or so inside here just standing in the center there like dumb for the first couple of minutes. All of these mines are going to be kicking him up to the ceiling, and that's just more for comedic effect than anything, and because Hell's there is a sick bastard.
I do what I can.
But like I said, there's no tricks, there's no god mode, there's nothing. This was all built by hand. It didn't take that long to put together. It's just a hole opening up into a room, and it works like a charm. The last several Horde nights we've done, we've actually gotten so bored we've jumped down into the pit just to spice things up a little bit. In terms of damage, you know, they'll get some occasional swings off on the tube up there. Nothing serious. It takes about 30 seconds to repair everything they do across the duration of the Horde night. Uh, it doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get any simpler. And I'd say in about 1,500 hours of gameplay, this is probably the most effective and safest base that any of us have ever seen.
The live demonstration is going to begin shortly.
One note, you'd probably be wondering why we wouldn't be using junk turrets. Even with max junk turrets, that's the one hang up on this place, is the targeting from this high up is kind of janky. I've got capped out turrets, and it's still just, they don't do a whole lot, so it's not really worth bringing them down here. It's you'll get a couple, maybe 50 rounds fired over the course of the night. It's not very effective. It's just not something we really mess with anymore.
Here we go, boys. Taking about 10 years to find us.
Not even. If you do build something like this and you get a little delay in the tracking and they're taking a bit to fall down the hole, have everybody just do a little ring around the rosy here. That'll spice things up. Fire a round or two, get their attention. They will start dropping eventually. Like I said, the top will take a little bit of a beating on any given night. They get a little irritated up there, but it's not catastrophic. They don't start digging all the way down. And there's our first contestants.
That never gets old.
See there, that guy survived. What's he going to do? He's going to spider his way into a giant pile of spikes and then he's dead. So, good night. And yeah, the mines don't last very long. He's got a pretty good layer from down there, but eventually they'll wear out. But they do. They just land, they're shocked up, they've got nowhere to go. If a demo guy comes through, he lands on bedrock, he blows up because he's pissed off. It doesn't matter. Nothing is hurt. Nothing down there matters at all.
That never gets old.
And you can spice this up any way you want. Run some electrical fencing down in there, run some blade traps down there, do whatever. It doesn't matter. It's sitting on bedrock, so whatever you put down there is optional. I wouldn't make it anything that you're too worried about having to lose if you're playing a straight game and not cheating or anything, but, build to your heart's content. The concept is solid, and that's all you need. If you're wondering why the little wood frame tower is there, that's actually just the only in and out. Those we just consider disposable, because if you build a ladder or a ramp or any other kind of access point, that's going to be what draws their attention. So you want them to land down there at Mach 5 and just sit there with nowhere to go. And this is day 77. That's a spicy one typically. This isn't a day 42 or anything. This one's supposed to matter on most games, and you can see here we're you know, half an hour into it, and there hasn't been much of anything.
Oh, with this build, you're more likely to waste ammo than you are to spend it. So
Yep.
Come on.
Take you guys on a little tour of the damage once we're done for the night, but again, it's usually nothing too substantial. It doesn't take very long to repair, and it's low impact, it's low maintenance. It's perfect for if you're you know, out trying to do something and you just want to knock out Horde Night without having to spend the first 3 days of the week fixing all your stuff. We've got another, you know, main base with the Death Corridor, and we've tried a lot of other builds. You know, this is probably the 9th or 10th base that I've built, and this one has turned out to just be stupid effective.
Someone shoot the chest plate on the first demo guy we see.
Right. I mean, and I think this is a testament to it. I mean, when's the last time you saw a Day 77 or, you know, Day anything Horde video come through and you're just kind of sitting here holding your nuts? There really is. This is so low impact and so safe that, like I said, a lot of times we get bored and just jump down there to keep it spicy. Between that drop and the electric fence, there's very little they can do when they land. They're already pretty jacked up by the time they hit the ground. And as you can see here, the fencing is all pretty safe, so they're not going to land on those poles or do any kind of damage to that. I've never had to repair any of those or replace any of them. They're all running to one generator just buried in the ceiling there. The gas load on that is basically nothing. It's free. You find one gas barrel somewhere and you're good.
spent last Horde night punching zombies at the end of it.
Yeah, pretty much. We were all down there with fists and bats, just beating on demo guys and cops, and it's just they're so screwed up by the time they land. It doesn't matter.
Come on.
He'll find one. He'll find one. I made sure to put them behind all the pillars as well, just for that.
That'll work.
Officer.
Yeah, and I could probably be using slugs here or some other kind of weapon, but it's so safe and secure that we generally just try to go with a fairly low demand night. We don't blow a lot of resources when we're doing these Horde nights, and I think that's important if you're trying to play a straight game and you got the difficulty jacked up a little bit and you're trying to do something for real. This is a really effective and a really efficient way to handle these hordes.
I should point out that none of these landmines are homemade. I used the infiltrator perk and picked all of them up out.
I can't show you right now without kind of screwing up their tracking and creating a whole mess of nonsense, but what they're doing right now, we've tested this out and been up there before during the nights, is they're angrily running laps around the top hole. And that's it. Occasionally one will get pissed off, he'll start knocking down. The last Horde night we had one on the outer columns here lining the hole, where he dug down like 3 or 4 blocks worth and then just replaced them, so whoop-de-doo.
A few moments later.
I mean, truth be told, I spend most of these nights just looking at Hell's butt here. It's fine.
I aim to please.
A little later.
I think realistically, just about anybody who's ever spent more than about 10 minutes in this game could handle the volume for 4 or 5 people solo and do it all with a bow. There's just so little danger or risk involved in this build. Even if they dropped nothing but demo guys, they could blow up every one of those columns, like I said, and this thing would still suspend from the ceiling. There's no way for them to get up here at all. Even the most antsy and froggy-looking spiders, they get about 2/3 of the way, and that's the end of the story. Take a look. I don't think I even refilled this generator off the last Horde night here. Yeah. half of its power usage on 3 engines, and we burn barely any gas. You can get away with a much smaller, much cleaner version of this, but, you know, we've been around for a while, so we like to build it up, like to spice them up a little bit and make them a little more entertaining to watch. But if you had to build a 4x4 hole going down to bedrock and you made your whole room 10x10 and strung up some stuff on the sides, you'd be fine. The trick here is to not be too far away from the radius of the actual hole that they're dropping down, so that they're still baited by your presence here to fall down that hole. And to just keep everything on the floor that could matter, like this support structure, 6 blocks up. The explosion radius on the demo, guys, is 5. So if you're 6 high, you can have any number of those popping down there, and the only thing they're going to hit is bedrock.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen a single demo guy yet.
Yeah, sometimes they take a second to piss off and get them down here, but I'm not hearing any hacking or anything going on up there. So looking around the base here, you can see I've got the 4 sort of aisles going out to the side. Most of them go nowhere. That's just more future-proofing than anything. That one over there, I've got some repair mats for this base stashed in, and then that is the actual just exit. That one goes nowhere. So you could, when I first built it, I was thinking maybe we could move down here full-time. That turned out not to be necessary, but I do have some room to grow down here if we decided to just do the mole man thing.
Oh, that one punched a wall on the way down.
Oh no. Yeah, you can see they've got a couple little tiny nicks in here, but this is all stage 2 concrete, so it really doesn't matter. It's cheap to repair, it's cheap to make. Like I said, we're doing everything legit, so every ounce of this has been pulled out, forged, cement mixed, or cement mixed, you name it. So this is not a high maintenance base. This is very easy to maintain, very easy to keep up and running. The worst part is probably just, the early stage digging. If you don't have all your mining skills up, you don't have all the books, you're down here with a stage 2 auger or something like that. Yeah, that took a moment, but again, this is a lot bigger than it probably needed to be. So you could have something like this up and running within the first few weeks of a brand new game if you really wanted to. The electrical fencing is just a perk. It's nice that they land and they're shocked like that. But if they landed there cold and just started running around, again, it doesn't really matter. You might have to work a little harder to shoot them, but if you don't have that kind of capacity early on, that's fine. Just drop them onto bedrock and let them running around. They're not going to do anything. They're just going to be down there and be pissed off.
I'm relatively certain we've been age restricted now.
Probably. Yeah, we can edit that in post.
Will we, though? I feel like we probably will.
Probably not. He's dead, Jim.
You don't know. They started out dead, and now look at them.
He is technically correct. The best kind.
Best kind of correct.
Yeah, after each one of these nights, I'll jump down there. We'll pick up the loot that's left at the bottom. Maybe do a little bit of patchwork on some of these pillars if we so desire. Like I said, they're all redundant. They're just for giggles more than anything else. This whole thing was hanging free from the ceiling way before we ever put those down there, so we're good to go. I tested this pretty thoroughly, knocked out a bunch of the supports, knocked out 2 of these aisles while it was still hanging, and it stayed up. So even if somehow things went catastrophic and they introduced the atom bomb zombie, this place is going to hold up. It's going to stay hanging from the ceiling, and you're going to be safe up here. The experience loads down here isn't too bad either. You're close enough, you're getting shared XP from just about anybody in your party, and there's enough of them dropping that you're gonna put up, a couple levels. It's not gonna be quite as fire intensive as, like, say, a killing corridor early on, but you're not gonna have to go through and rebuild your entire base afterwards either, which is pretty damn convenient. Oh, that one missed the wires. Doesn't happen very often, but there is some space there for them to do it. It's not a big deal. She runs over and starts punching on some spikes. It's going to end poorly for her. In case you're wondering, I actually did use the torches down here intentionally. I wanted this hole to generate a little more heat than you get off of, say, lanterns or just regular light bulbs, industrial lighting, so that is one thing I would recommend. You don't want anything in the tube that's going to hang up on there, because we have learned in previous games that any kind of pit, if there's anything, a torch, a lip of any kind, they can actually stand on that and start punching sideways. So you want to line this whole pit down here, whatever you do build, with a bunch of torches to make sure this is a hot area, because truth be told, we're not spending a lot of time down here on off days. We're pretty much only down here on Horde nights, so this helps generate a little bit more of the heat down here, draws a little bit more attention. But not a huge deal, not make or break by any means.
I was wondering if she was going to find that one.
Listen, they're zombies. They're not that smart.
I accounted for that. The mine density down there is just a little bit under the Korean DMZ.
Well, not so much anymore, anyways. The regular cement blocks down there were actually early experimentation with junk turrets. Again, didn't really quite pan out. They don't seem to work well. There's some sort of glitch involved in Alpha 18 with junk turrets on or near bedrock. Not 100% what's going on there, and the blocks themselves are still there, mostly because I'm too lazy to hack them out.
They make good standing posts when we decide to hop down there.
You know, it hangs them up a little bit sometimes. It's something else. It doesn't matter down there. It's all good. Yeah, I suspect we're going to be down in the hole pretty quick here. Maybe around 2 or so. And that's how, I think that's the best testament of this build, is the fact that we can look at the day 77 Horde, and with several hours to go, we'll jump down in the hole and spice it up just because it's that secure, and they're so screwed up by the time they hit bottom.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Let's take a trip into the pit.
Gentlemen?
So, what can we see up here? Anybody see any kind of damage or anything on that?
Not really.
I don't, from this vantage, see much that looks like it's too torn up. So here we are, day 77 in the pit. Dancing with them at close range just for shits and giggles because this is that safe. When's the last time you saw a YouTube build that had you just looking at the Horde Knight with a baseball bat? Yeah, a little bit of traffic up there. Doof. That looked like it hurt. So yeah, it's just a straight shot up to that slab I showed you earlier at the beginning. They come down, they fall through electric fencing, and then they eat sh**. Oh, demo guy behind you, Hells.
Hey, how you doing, buddy? Finally got one.
That's the first
And
little
that's
bit
why I
of
carry an M6.
spice we've had the whole evening.
Well, if we weren't age restricted before, we are now.
See, even of the stuff we've got down here with the spikes and everything, very little damage, very little impact. Our rounds have probably done more than any of these Zeds. Take a little trip outside here, see what's been done to the lip. Basically untouched. Not a, well, okay, 1 block, 2 blocks gone. So this is going to be some very easy repair work. And that is it. That is what I think we can definitively call the actual safest and best base in Alpha 18. It doesn't come any easier. It doesn't come any lower impact. You could make this whole thing out of wood frames or cobblestone if you had to early on, playing legit. You do what you need to do. Once the concept is in, you're good to go. And this is as easy and as cheap as it's possibly going to be. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll catch you next time.
Ace.
Woodle can suck it.